Now, before I begin this video, I do want to mention that if you are interested in picking up this fragrance or getting a sample of it, you may do so at perfumology.com. I'm going to be leaving all of the links down below. They are based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and they have a lot of really hard to find niche and indie fragrances. Thanks for watching. Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence, and welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it, and I hope that this video finds you well. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a closer look at a fragrance by the company Gallagher Fragrances, and this one, of course, is called Behold Patchouli. So make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin my fragrance review of Behold Patchouli by Gallagher Fragrances, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like fragrance reviews here on YouTube, but also top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, special guests, interviews, and pretty much anything having to do with fragrances, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. All you have to do is click on that red button in the corner, and of course, while you're at it, please make sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell icon. This way, whenever I do put out these videos, they will get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future uploads. So here we have a 2020 release from the company Gallagher Fragrances. Of course, the perfumer behind this brand is Daniel Gallagher. He's been a friend of mine for a few years now. We always correspond on Facebook, and he was kind enough to send this bottle to me for review, but of course, all opinions will remain my own. And of course, I've tried all of his other fragrances, if I'm not mistaken, everything from Wicked Good to Amongst Waves, and there are just way too many to count. Now, this one also utilizes this chocolate note, which you're going to find in Wicked Good. However, this is different in the sense that it has this orangey overtone, it has this frankincense heart, and perhaps it's not as powdery as Wicked Good, which I think is another thing that I mentioned about it when I did my review of it on the channel. In any case, I'm really excited to review this one for you guys. I find this to be an excellent gourmand fragrance, and one that is very photorealistic in the sense that it does remind me of an orange peel infused chocolate bar. But let's go ahead and start things off with the presentation. So the box for this one is rather simple. It's made out of cardboard, and it has all of the notes here on the front along with the Gallagher Fragrances crest, definitely paying an homage to his Irish heritage. On the bottom of the box, you will find all of the information, and the back of the box has the size, the concentration, the e-commerce, and the made-in information. The bottle for this one is also pretty nice. Please notice the dark coloration of the liquid on the inside. This one is definitely a heavier and slightly sweet fragrance as well. And then you can also see the clover on the inside. The same information that's on the back of the box is also on the back of the bottle. The cap for this fragrance is a snug fit, so you can pick it up from the cap. And the distribution on the atomizer is nice and wide. Let's continue with the smell. Now, of course, it goes without saying that we cannot start talking about this perfume and the way that it smells without addressing the patchouli note. Now, the name of the fragrance is Behold Patchouli, and sure enough, there is patchouli in here. There is a lot of patchouli in here. And what I can say is, with my experience regarding this note and the way that it's been utilized in the various perfumes that I've smelled throughout the years, it can come across smelling very dry, bitter, leafy, a little herbal and aromatic as well, with verdant accents, or it can come across smelling very dense and chunky and chocolatey and almost gourmand leaning. And that's exactly what you're going to get in this fragrance. As a matter of fact, probably one of the earliest iterations that I stumbled upon was the original Gentleman by Givenchy that has a beautiful, gorgeous, chocolatey patchouli ingredient. And of course, more recently, we have Noir de Noir by Tom Ford and a number of other fragrances that utilize that sweet patchouli note. And that's exactly what you're going to get in here. And of course, Mr. Gallagher was not ashamed to put chocolate right on here. And so this is a combination of patchouli and chocolate. And you also have the honeyed amber, the musk, the frankincense, the orange citruses. So I have my little cheat sheet here. But what I can say is, in comparison to some other fragrances that I've smelled from Daniel Gallagher's brand, and I know he's utilized a note of patchouli in a few other of his fragrances, this one doesn't have that powdery nuance that Wicked Good does have. And so I found that Wicked Good was more in the territory of like a Chocolate Greedy by Montal, In this fragrance, I am definitely picking up on the orange, and I think it's providing a really nice complement to that chocolatey patchouli. Now, I feel like the patchouli itself is beautifully accented by the chocolate that is in here, and I feel like it's only natural to combine those two ingredients, and what a wonder it does to this fragrance. But I feel like that orangey introduction really gives it new life, and it really breathes life into the fragrance because it allows it to go down its own unique direction with these accents of musk and frankincense and whatnot. But I feel like the chocolate, the patchouli, and the orange really drive this composition, and that's the focal point in this scent. Now, in terms of the frankincense that's utilized in here, I am picking up on it. And it took me a few weeks of wearing this fragrance and really getting to understand it before I was finally able to allow it to click. And I said, okay, yeah, there it is. So because the chocolate and the patchouli and the orange really dominate this composition, you have the frankincense and the musk, as well as that honey amber that's really hidden and kind of discreet in the base of this perfume, and you have to resurrect it. And so the more that I wore it, the more that it started to come out for me. And when it does come out and you finally notice it, you're like, oh, there it is. And I think it gives you a newfound appreciation for this fragrance. What I have to say is, listen, if you are a fan of patchouli, if you like that chocolatey variety of patchouli, you want something that comes across smelling sensual, romantic, little flirtatious, but definitely dark and edgy at the same time, definitely check out Behold Patchouli. I really like the way that the note of patchouli is being represented in this fragrance. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, despite the fact that I was able to compare this fragrance to some other patchouli-based fragrances, especially ones where the patchouli kind of goes in that chocolatey direction, this one is still unique because it has that frankincense, it has the orange citruses in the opening, and it kind of has this citrusy appeal while retaining that incensey quality in the base with that slightly animalic texture that I think really works wonders in giving this fragrance this original personality that I think works in the favor of the brand as a whole. And so it kind of curates diversity among their fragrances, and I say this only because they have another chocolate-based fragrance which is called Wicked Good. If I remember, I'm going to leave a card up here and the link down below to where you can watch my review of that fragrance as well. I believe I shot it in collaboration with my friend Carlos, but I might be mistaken. In terms of the overall smell, very pleasant. You'll probably have people salivating when they smell this just because it is very gourmand leaning, and that's because the chocolate in here is quite heavy-handed, but really great representation of the note of patchouli. If you're interested in these types of fragrances, of course, definitely check it out. I'm going to leave a link for it down below. Longevity on this one, 8 hours. Projection on this one on my skin lasted about 2 to 3 hours. Definitely going to get you noticed. A lot of base heavy ingredients in here, and it didn't start to sit closer to the skin until that 6 to 6.5 hour mark. Versatility for this one, I think this one is great for the colder weather. I would not wear this one in the dead of summer. I think it could be a little bit too cloying, especially because it is a little bit on the sweeter side as well. And you think of incense, you think of patchouli, you think of musk, you think generally of heavier fragrances that are made to be worn in the colder weather, and that's exactly what I think is going on here. Perfectly unisex. I think some people might find this to be a little bit youthful leaning because of the sweeter elements, but I think because of the darker elements, this one can lean a little bit older as well. So I think it's pretty flexible when it comes to an age range. And I think in terms of the presentation, I do like the simplicity of it. My final verdict is, if you're looking for a gourmand patchouli fragrance, one that is pretty versatile in terms of gender, and one that is really solid for the colder weather, look no further than Behold Patchouli, especially if you want to support independent perfumers. I think this one is excellent. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was my review of Behold Patchouli by Gallagher Fragrances. If you own or have tried this fragrance, please let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel by clicking on that red button in the corner. I would really appreciate it. And of course, remember to enable notifications by clicking on the bell. Thanks again for watching. I love you all, and we'll see you soon. Bye.